My sister's new boyfriend tried to make me look small at the dinner table. Everyone laughed along. My father cut in like he always did and said, "Be quiet. Think about the family's honor." I didn't argue, I stayed silent and waited. For the moment I knew would come when he finally brought up his job. I reached for my phone and the truth shut everyone up. He kept going at first, smirking, as if my life were some kind of punchline. I stared down at my plate while every word hit me like a hammer. He took a sip of water, glanced my way, and asked, "So, you're still doing the same thing, waitressing? Like my job defined my value as a person?" Mom set the roast beef down and avoided my eyes. Dad repeated his favorite line, "Be quiet. Think about the family's honor." I stayed calm because I knew what was coming. Mark, my sister's so-called ticket to a better life, was a certain type of man. The kind who thought confidence and expensive cologne made him superior. Men who display their success the way stores show off luxury items, polished and bright under perfect lighting. And my sister Jessica had always fallen for men like that. She believed Mark would rescue her from the life she hated: the cramped house, the worn-out couch, the feeling that everything was always a struggle. But I knew who Mark really was, not because I was smarter than anyone else, but because I paid attention. Silence doesn't mean blindness. Sometimes it sharpens your vision. The noise at the table grew louder as Mark joked about my long hours, my late nights, how tired I must always be. Then he leaned back and said, "A woman your age still living on tips? That's rough. Guess you didn't make the best choices." People laughed, that stiff, uncomfortable kind of laughter meant to hide how ugly the moment was. Jessica laughed too and touched his arm, but I noticed the doubt flicker in her eyes. She wasn't fully sold on him anymore. Not really. My life had been stretched thin for years: double shifts, bills, a failed marriage, and disappointments I stepped over every morning without complaint. I was exhausted, not just physically, but deep inside. Mark mistook that exhaustion for weakness. He was wrong. Quiet people often carry the most dangerous truths. When he finally started talking about his job, it felt like the whole room froze. "I work at a major mortgage company," he said proudly, holding his title like armor. I calmly took out my phone. Every head turned toward me. "What are you doing?" Mom asked, startled. I didn't answer. I opened the browser and pulled up what had been burning inside me for weeks: the company's name. And beneath it, a headline published 3 days earlier. Jessica leaned forward. "What's that?" I placed my phone in the middle of the table. The glow lit up Mark's face and all the color drained from it. "Mortgage fraud ring exposed. Key employee under investigation." Mom's cup slipped from her hand and hit the floor. "This is nothing," Mark stuttered. "Just a misunderstanding at work." For the first time that night, I looked him straight in the eyes. "The files they found in your apartment," I said quietly. "Were those a misunderstanding too?" Jessica gasped. "Mark, are you involved in this?" He jumped up, knocking his chair back. "I'm leaving. I don't need this." "Yeah," I replied softly. "The police probably won't need you much longer either." He stormed toward the door. But for the first time, my sister didn't chase after him. She stayed frozen, staring at me like she was seeing me clearly for the first time. Seeing the years of pain no one had noticed. Mom looked at me, opened her mouth, then closed it again. Dad finally spoke, his voice low. We didn't know what you were carrying all this time." I laughed silently, a tired, bitter laugh. I had always carried things: other people's judgments, family expectations, rent, medical bills, and the kind of loneliness that settles over a city at night. I never blamed them. But this time, I let myself speak. "You never asked how I was," I said. "You only noticed what I didn't become." Jessica stared ahead, then whispered, "I thought you were jealous. But you were trying to protect me, weren't you?" I nodded. "Always. You're my sister." Mom wiped at her tears. "Please forgive us." I had held on to forgiveness. For years, it doesn't erase scars, but it can soften the pain. For the first time, that house felt less heavy. I put on my jacket and walked toward the door. The cool night air hit my face and felt like a real breath. Without turning back, I said, "I was never weak, you just confused my silence for it." And that night, for the first time, I stood on my own.